Lexington, Ohio. It's a very familiar facility for a lot of these folks at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, but it is a completely brand new layout. It is much more compact, and it's bound to throw up some challenges. What better place to host the season finale of the Beer League? Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Green Flag TV. This is the Mid-Ohio Race for the Bean, and the final race of the Beer League in their sixth season of competition. My name is Oliver Empel alongside Austin Edstrom. We're bringing you all of the action here tonight from start to finish. It's going to be an absolutely wild race here tonight, Austin, and I am ready to kick this thing off. It's going to get wild over here in Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, Mid-Ohio is going to be anything but mid this evening in the championship race for the Beer League. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal between Alex Cofford and Alexander Hammonds. The battle of the Alexes tonight. It is a pretty wide gap in the points. Got to have a pretty big mishap from Cofford. But this is the Beer League, and I happen to be under a good knowledge that Alex Cofford is absolutely blasted right now, so he's going to have a hard time finishing in the top 30 and locking up that championship.
You mentioned finishing in the top 30, and that is right now how the point situation wraps up. Alex Cofford must finish within the top 30 tonight if he wants to win the championship. If he is 29th or up, then he is secure in the points lead no matter what with the drop weeks. However, even if he doesn't finish in the top 30, remember, even if he finishes dead last, right, 42nd or 44th or however many cars we have tonight, Alexander Hammonds still has to win this race as well as score 3 extra bonus points. I think that is something that's really critical to mention, right? Hammonds is in a must-win scenario, and he has to have a phenomenal drive tonight if he wants to get that title.
Yeah, and even if Hammonds does absolutely everything right, it's still very, very possible that he doesn't win the title. That's a tough pill to swallow, but Cofford's been really good this season. Hammonds has been better on the racetrack, but Cofford has a ton of bonus points from beer consumption the entire week. I'm pretty sure whenever we pull up that keg graphic, about half of those kegs are probably from Alex Cofford.
Hammonds' best points haul this season was 62, and that was when he took that race win. He got 3 bonus points for a 0x race. He got 1 point for pole, 1 point for leading a single lap, and 1 point for the most laps led. Right now, Hammonds is on his way to getting at least 1 of those points. He sits on provisional pole by 6/100ths of a second. That's going to help out Hammonds a little bit, right? Of course, he might get pole at qualifying, but he still has to see if he can get himself with a pole position in the main event as well, right? Because it's that main event that counts. He's going to have to win that heat race before that bonus point is secure in the back pocket. But if he get that 1 bonus point, then that's at least 1 point less that he's going to have to muster out of other bonuses throughout the course of the evening.
That's absolutely true, but he could also, even though he hasn't been a big drinker this year, he could also make up those bonus points by drinking a couple beers and giving himself a better opportunity. So, Hammonds, there's a couple of different ways that he can make up a couple points to at least make it possible, but at the end of the day, he still needs Alex Cofford to finish way at the back of the pack.
He certainly does, and right now qualifying is currently underway. You're watching Chris Flams working his way up and around the racetrack. You saw that early cut in there for turn 2. We are not going down to the keyhole. This is the shorter layout of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It cuts out that long backstretch and does make the longest straight on the racetrack. That of the front stretch and the runs between the final corner and down to turn 1 before we slide right back into this very technical, twisty section. And that is, again, going to light questions as to how will these heat races in particular go down tonight. How will the opening lap go down tonight? We already saw a pretty hefty a couple of multi-car wrecks, in fact. The last time we were here in the Mustangs, I would be shocked if we didn't get at least 15 cars junked up in turns 1 and 2.
That might be underrepresentation. We might have over half the field. I wouldn't be too surprised, man. And this last corner, I feel like, is very inviting to mistakes whenever you're driving down into it nose to tail. And with these late model stocks, man, the noses, if you get onto somebody's back bumper, you can lift them up and wreck them really easy. And I think we're going to see that through the last long corner. We're looking at Chris Flams right here on the qualifying lap, looking at turn 1 and 2, just kind of get an idea of what we're going to be looking at whenever we do go racing. Look at that. Very, I mean, that left-hander makes you feel like you're going all the way down the straightaway, and then all of a sudden, bam, hard on the binders, 180-degree right-hand corner, completely different than what you're expecting. Definitely going to catch out some people tonight.
It's going to catch a lot of people out tonight, and it's going to be a very wild race to see how things is going to on how things are going to work. So Well, we'll see how this race is going to pan out, but for now, it is heat race number 1 that is getting set to kick off for the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Let's take a look at your starting grid. Alexander Hammonds on the pole with Eric Ronenberg down in the number 2 spot. Adam Jackson starts 3rd. Alexander Bueller is 4th. Tyler Rockstein is 5th with Ron Wolf in 6th. Brooks Clayton is 7th. Tom Madola in 8th. Corey Barrett, Jonathan Lefebvre, and Alex Crawford himself will bring it up for an 11-car heat race number 1. And Crawford, again, he's, as mentioned, I think blasted would be putting it mildly. So this is going to be an interesting one to see how this heat race could pan out. I'm expecting nothing short of complete unbridled chaos.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair bet. And, you know, under normal circumstances, if I saw a heat race in a championship event where both of the 2 championship contenders were in the same heat, I'd be pretty excited. But I'm not really, because Crawford's just going to find somewhere to drive off the racetrack and finish last so that he can start in the back during the main event. So not really too excited about the championship battle in this heat, but it's still important for the championship because, like you mentioned, Hammonds has to win this to get that bonus point to start on the pole for the main event.
Well, the revs start to build as we get set to kick off championship night for the Beer League. Alexander Hammonds has got to win this heat race if he wants to give himself 1 crucial bonus point and 1 point closer to win this championship. The green flag drops. We hightail it down in the turn number 1 and setting ourselves up for 2. Hammonds pulling clear. Eric Ronenberg running 2nd. And so far, looking like a very clean start to this heat race. No drama so far, except for Lefebvre, who's going way off. He's taking the long layout. He must not have gotten the memo that we're on that short course tonight.
Well, you said nothing really happened other than Lefebvre, but I got to point out on the race start, Crawford was at like 2 miles an hour the entire time before the green flag came out. So I'm sure Alex Crawford got the jump start as well. So there's a little bit going on there on the race start, but again, Crawford was always going to finish in last place. This is probably a new way to do it, though. I don't think I've seen him jump start right at the beginning of a heat race. Typically, he finds a little jump to go off of, but we got Adam Jackson trying to run down Eric Ronenberg here, and Ronenberg, I feel like Ronenberg's probably quicker than this right now, but I honestly think that he might be lagging back a little bit and sandbagging to allow Alexander Hammonds to have a big enough gap to get that whole bonus point being teammates.
It could possibly be the case. Right now, Hammonds is 2nd and a half. He'll lead lap number 1 of 3 in your opening of 4 heat races tonight. He's going to take that one across the line, and Ronenberg still hanging on to the number 2 spot. It's looking very nice and organized, not seeing too much in the way of drama. But this is how how last season's race in Mid-Ohio went too, right, in the Mustangs. It was very calm and clean.
Ooh.
Whoa! And Clayton going in hot, and he's going to give it up. Do want to point out Alex Crawford is just turning laps out there on the long part of the circuit as well. He's just running that hopeful layout that's kind of running through that little bean. He's taking the bean a little bit too close to heart. Are we surprised? Not at all.
Alex Crawford flicking the bean over there on turn 2 of the big layout. Coming up here, Alex Hammonds, they're still leading the way. The 44 Agostino trying to make up some ground on Ron Wolf.
It's the battle for the number 5 spot. And this will be setting these guys up for what I believe will be around 20th in the main event. So it really goes to show just how much these positions matter when you're in a heat race in action like this. Alexander Hammonds will start the final lap. As the rest of this field tries to hightail it after him as time quickly running out in your opening heat race.
Yeah, because of the short layout here, the heat races go by relatively quick, cutting out 2 pretty decent straightaways there that we would normally have to take. So cutting out probably a good, 20, 30 seconds of lap time out of this lap after lap. So pretty quick heat races tonight based off of, or versus what we normally have. But as I was saying, I don't think Ronenberg is actually that slow compared to Hammonds, and I think I'm getting proved to be right here. Oh, man, Hammonds a little loose. But Ronenberg has bridged that gap back down from 1.5, 1.6 down to 1 second.
It's a long gap to close in, though, with just half a lap to go, especially considering how tight and technical the section is. And in fact, Ronenberg, going off the track, and that's going to immediately give Hammonds the biggest gap he's had so far in heat race number 1. Hammonds into the final series of corners here. And looking like the driver, the number 26 here, will be picking up that win for heat race number 1. That is one very critical bonus point that Hammonds has in the back pocket. Now he just has to lead a lap and lead the most laps. No need to worry about a 0x race. And then, of course, he still has to win this race tonight as well, courtesy of the drop weeks.
And in typical beer league fashion, we are having spectacular crashing down into turn 1 after the checkered flag. Still on the racetrack, Lefebvre, Todd Badol going hard into the barriers, and they're just, typically I would say
they're enjoying themselves.
It's a season finale, so they're really just, they got to get it all out now because it's going to be a long off season. We have one off week, so they're just not going to get to do this for a week. But and I say that they'll probably have a preseason race or something where they're all going to come in here and just junk the heck out of each other anyway. So these guys never change, and I don't want them to.
One thing that will change next season is the Toyota GR86 will make its second appearance in beer league competition. The reason why they're going back to an old car gives them the possibility of rain races.
Rain.
It's
rain and rain.
We saw it throw up some chaos in the 12 hours of Sebring, and, well, what do you think it's going to do for these guys?
Man, I really wish that they had let us turn on rain for every car regardless if it had rain tires.
Right?
Because I would have loved for these guys to throw these late model stocks out there in the rain. I mean, it would have looked absolutely stupid, but it would have been hilarious.
Heat race number 1 going to flash up on your screens here as that is 1 of 4 in the books. And we'll move swiftly on to heat race number 2. Started on the pole, Austin Tucker alongside Kyle Blevins. Tyler Carlton is 3rd. Kyle Smith is 4th. Justin Hall 5th. Darren Bai 6th. Edith Conde 7th. Mac Verstappen 8th. Blake Gambrell 9th. Greg Beckman 10th. Adam Joseph Elhott, the lone driver, not to put down a qualifying lap, starting in 11th.
Heat race number 2, just getting ready to come at you guys. Still a few more seconds until we get those red lights to pop on and get this thing started. But Austin Tucker up at the front, like you mentioned, been a pretty consistent front starter in the heat races. I feel like no matter what heat race he's in, he's typically starting in the top 2 or so positions. So Austin Tucker looking to convert that top starting spot in the second heat race into a win.
Well, the revs build. Bit of wheel spin there from Tucker getting off the line, but otherwise we're clean and green in the run down towards turn number 1, this time by Austin Tucker hanging on for that number 1 position for heat race number 2, while the rest of the pack siphoning in behind as well. No dramas this time coming through the opening couple of corners, and well, I say that, there goes Mailhot taking it to the beam.
And as he's playing around out there, Austin Tucker coming down into the little chicane here, coming down the hill after the little rise. Oh, a little bit of contact further back. Gambrell in the 79. Getting collided with Greg Beckman in the 42 there coming around. But that chicane right there, I feel like typically that would be a very, very difficult spot. And I think that we would see a lot of issues into that braking zone. If we were on the other race layout, yeah, we just saw it right there with the 79 going in too deep, but I really feel like that would be Calamity Corner if we ran the bigger layout. I've seen people just outbrake themselves into that corner time and time again. But here with it's going to be a way shorter braking zone with a very short straightaway right before it. So I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue as it typically is.
You don't think so? I mean, 44
cars.
cars.
Problems. There are more than 40 cars, so you're right. But just the braking distance is shorter, right? So it should be a little more clean, maybe?
Tsukuba's proven that they don't care about how short a braking zone is. Same with Lime Rock Park.
I have faith. Oh, the 64. What a move down there on Darren Bai. The 64. Justin Hall, what a move. That was actually really impressive getting down there just about in the grass. Down in the dirt, skirting the dirt there from the 64, trying to make the move on Darren Bai.
We're going to see a lot of that in the main event, I feel, especially in the opening laps. Drivers trying to make that aggressive lunge into that 180 at turn 2. So that's one thing that opens up this track, right, that the original layout really doesn't. It gives you a bit of a more aggressive passing opportunity, but a very risky one to go for as well. And a place where I think we'll also be seeing a lot of cars going around. You saw how we had to jam on the brakes and lock up those rears. Well, remember Homestead and pretty much every other race? That's the one that these cars don't like to do.
Yeah, Homestead was a weird one. That hairpin coming out onto the back straightaway, for some reason, we just saw so many issues coming out of that corner. I feel like if any of these guys come out of one of these slow corners and just touch the outside grass, we're going to see very similar issues to what we saw at Homestead. But Austin Tucker taking the white flag here in heat race number 2, kind of unchallenged by Kyle Blevins.
Much like how we saw in heat race number 1, the heat race leader looking set to lead just about every single lap. That's really been the trend all season long, hasn't it? The heat race leaders have not really been given all that much of a challenge in these late model stocks. You do wonder how that much that's going to change next season with those low-powered club cars that they're going to be swinging to.
Yeah, I don't really know too much about the Toyota, so unfortunately I can't, say too much about it. I didn't even know it was in the service until pre-race, whenever my co-commentator here completely shut me down for not knowing and acted like I was crazy.
It's base content. How could you not know? That's my question.
I just look, man. I don't even race that much anymore. I just call races. I call a bunch of oval races and then the beer league, man. I don't know. Well, I'm excited to check it out, especially with the rain.
Well, lap times and speed is kind of comparable to the Mazda MX-5, right? So it's not. It's going to be pretty close to that. Although those cars, you can't chuck them in as much as the Mazda Es. They tend to be a little bit more fragile. So we'll see how that's all going to pan out. But for now, Tucker wins heat race number 2. While the rest of the pack slowly but surely siphoning through to take off yet another, and that is halfway now through our heat racing program.
Well, hopefully the fragility of the Toyotas won't be an issue because we do have the auto damage repair. So we should be okay. Now, to your point, if it's so fragile that one little bit of contact knocks off the right front fender, knocks off the right front tire, and you go straight into the wall and it loses you 10 seconds every time you make contact, then maybe that would be a little much, but we'll have to wait and see.
Heat race number 2, results up on your screen. Austin Tucker was your race winner. We'll move on down to heat number 3 as we move swiftly along. Chris Bright in the lead with Serial Team 6. John Combs down in 2nd. Aaron Thacker in 3rd. Jimmy Castro is 4th. Steve McLennan, Shane Cameron on row 3. Row 4, Brian LeBlanc and Jordan Babcock. Row 5, Stephen Purcell and Chris Flams. Tanner Klein brings up 11th place. And again, not putting it down the qualifying lap.
Heat race has been going by pretty quick so far. First 2 have honestly not taken too long with these 3 laps until the Mid-Ohio short course is not a very long road course. Even in the late model stocks, car that honestly takes a good while to get around the road course, it still only takes them 1 minute and 12 seconds here. So relatively rapid heat races. Chris Bright starting up on the pole. John Combs, I expect a little bit more from John Combs this season after his hot start to the year at Daytona.
Oh no!
What in the kayak?
Well, that will be a jump start for the 32 for sure as he lurched forward. So do not be surprised if we see John Combs pull some shenanigans here in this heat race as Chris Bright runs down through turn number 1 and up to 2. Will we get through clean? We do not. Brian LeBlanc goes in deep and Castro doors Combs coming through the hairpin.
And Castro took the 163 spinning in the back, but Castro took a very unorthodox line down into the first corner, completely cut over the pit exit. Actually got all 4 tires on the inside of that yellow curb somehow, trying to find some way around the outside of John Combs through turn 2, or into the braking zone of turn 2. So, I don't know, that was an interesting line from Castro. Gonna have to see if that's used in the main event later.
I mean, it's not an off track. You can go there and not get a slowdown penalty. And
I just wouldn't jump a curb to get there, man.
Well, I mean, these cars can do it, right? I mean, they have that suspension. They're able to do that a lot better than cars like the GT cars that usually run are capable of doing. I know the Mustangs couldn't do that last season. It's also worth noting, right, you're not getting on the power coming through turn 1 either. You're offending the throttle, then immediately jamming on the brakes. That does give some more stability back. John comes into pit road, having to serve a penalty for jumping the start.
To your point, looking at Bright going down to turn 1, holding off from Aaron Thacker. This time, neither one of those guys really abusing the curb too much, but again, Castro did it again. I mean, just straddling the curb. I mean, it is the only like lifted curb on the racetrack, and he's absolutely murdered it both times around so far. I thought it would put off these cars a little bit more, but to your point, you're not really on the throttle whenever you hit it, so I imagine it just really doesn't upset it as much as if you were coming off that corner full throttle.
Chris Bryant's been given a little bit more of a fight here from Aaron Thacker, as opposed to the last 2 heat races where the leader was kind of just able to cruise off into the sunset. So could we see Thacker potentially giving Bryant a run for his money here for the win of heat race number 3? This would be to determine who starts 3rd and who starts 7th in the main event.
Yeah, every position is worth 4 positions down in the main event. And that can mean a lot whenever you're talking about, you know, the mid-pack of a heat race. You know, if you're finishing 4th or 5th, that can be a very, very, very big difference. Because typically that first accident happens about mid-pack on lap number 1. And so every position from the 4th to 7th place spot means so much. But here it's 2 guys fighting for that top spot. Chris Bryant up in the lead, still trying to hold on to it, trying to start in the 3rd place spot for that main event.
Thacker still closing right up to the back bumper, but not close enough to be able to actually try to make an attack down the backstretch and in towards turn 3. Oh, looks for the inside there, but again, just not close enough to get a proper lunge going. You saw how aggressive Bryant is, though, in attacking those curves as we enter this tight and twisty section of racetrack. Thacker's closing, and he could have a shot here for a win.
Yeah, Thacker's getting there, but this last section of the racetrack, I really feel like there's only one more real opportunity that the 816 has, and that's going down into that long right-hander to the end of the racetrack there. Thacker just pushing a little bit too wide. Off into the grass, might cost him his opportunity.
Hard on the brakes through the final left-hander, well, the second last left-hander on the track, and now having to arc it out wide. Chris Bryant pulling out that gap. Final corner, give it to Chris Bryant, winning heat race number 3 after leading every single lap. And Jeremy Castro picks up 3rd from McClendon. Purcell off and into the grass as he has gotten into it with Chris Flams.
John Combs able to make a position there as Flams is trying to get the spot from Purcell here down to the, oh man. Just shows the braking zone, I suppose. One of them did. I don't know if Flams broke too late or if Purcell broke too early, but regardless, it was the end result was Purcell getting lifted up in the air.
And there is heat race number 3 up on your screens as we continue to work our way through. Only one more heat race left to go tonight. Second rundown of heat race number 4. Jason Lee on the pole, Josh Freed 2nd, Bear Morton 3rd, Chris Hannigan 4th, Alex Harrison and Sean Bradley on row 3, Graham Jordan and Matthew Dupuis 7th and 8th, Tyler Vin and Giovanni Romano 9th and 10th. Again, Romano not putting down a qualifying lap. That makes this a 43-car main event.
And it's going to be a crazy one. Championship, everybody's going to be gunning for it because it's the last race of the season. Everybody wants to go off into the off week. It's not even a season, off week. With a little bit of momentum, right? You want to go in there with your head held high and prove to yourself that you can do it. Of course, the Toyota is going to be very different next season. So maybe there's not much translation, but it still makes you feel good.
Is it cursed or a blessing that there's a Subaru badge on the late model stock? What's your take on it?
Ooh. Dang it, man. I really wish I could say that Subaru meme that's on TikTok all over the place.
I mean, Subarus, they have a rally pedigree behind them. And Chris Hannigan deciding rules are for suckers.
I don't like seeing the Subaru on the late model stock. It feels a little sacrilegious.
Chris Hannigan making his own version of pole position, and I don't think the stewards will be too thrilled with that interpretation of the rule book. Hannigan leads the way down to the turn number 1, and sure enough, he goes in hot. And in fact, half the field going in hot. Holy cow, everyone deciding to mutiny against track limits. We've only got 2 cars that made it through turn 1.
I don't even know what to say.
There's only 2 cars.
This league never ceases to surprise me. Oh my God, they're all taking the bean, except for Lee.
Yeah, Lee decides to get back onto the racetrack. It's a 2-horse race. You can see the carnage on the timing tower as it tries to figure out through non-existent scoring loops what the heck is going on. I think Freed's going to take an easy heat race win here.
Yeah, I need to ask a couple of these guys how they take the bean so easily. I seem to have trouble with that, so I need to see what these guys are doing.
Have you ever? I guess follow the league administrator, right?
I mean,
if the guy that's in
yeah.
charge of you all does it, I guess it's fair game.
It's just very hard for me to follow at this point, other than Freed and Bradley. Other than that, I don't really know what the hell's going on.
Well, and Lee's also on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's fair. He didn't stay in the bean. It's like he got in and got out. Probably because he's the Subaru.
There's a
he
few
couldn't stay very long.
drivers that did that. Dupuis and Jordan are now free of the bean. Harrison's free of the bean. Vietnam and Hannigan. What is happening here? How have you done that?
That's unbelievable!
How?
He's upside down in the bean! How's he done this?
He's stuck in the catch fence.
Race car 69.
How did he do that? Take a look. Got shunted in there by the 6 and...
Oh my word! It's like the one of the fence. Oh my gosh! It's like one of the fence posts got stuck in the wedge turn hole, and it just like stuck there. It's definitely not what happened, but it looks like it.
I have no words. Josh Freed is all by himself as the other second place runner is nowhere to be found. I think we had another driver go into the bean. So Freed is the only car that is, he has not allowed the intrusive thoughts to win. This league is the epitome of letting the voices win, right?
Josh Freed ends up being the only one to not take the bean over heat race number 4.
I wonder if someone's gonna wipe him out.
So Josh Freed, the virgin, up in first. Everybody else swiped it, entering the race, and I'm playing this card too heavy.
I have no idea.
You don't even know what I'm talking about, which is funny because I've been doing this the entire broadcast and you haven't noticed at all.
I have not, no. Well, Josh Freed, I want to know how the storyline's going to shake up for this. I'm willing to bet those results we see are nowhere near what is actually accurate right now. Well, Freed going to be the one driver who we know is going to take the race win. And it's who the heck knows for pretty much everyone else.
That was maybe the most eventful heat race of the season. That was interesting, to say the least. Jason Lee coming around maybe in second. We don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, no telling how this is actually going to be scored. No telling.
Still more drivers across the line, too. I believe Graham Jordan and Sean Bradley have not taken the check. You know it's bad when we don't even know who's all taking the checkered flag officially at this point, right?
Yeah, I don't even know what to say, to be honest.
Well, we're not the last one taking the line. We're still waiting on others. Here comes Dupuis, unofficially going to be in 5th. Harrison unofficially in 6th. The Baron Morton, I believe he has already taken the checkered flag, but he is not. We are waiting on Barrett Morton still, who is all the way on the backstretch, unofficially in 8th. And
he's got 20 seconds to make it.
Yeah,
oh, just kidding. They skipped it. They skipped it.
Well, heat race number 4 going to be up on your screens here. And, well, what a wild race that was. And sure enough, Josh Freed taking the heat race win. But with that, it's time to get this show on the road for the final main event of the season. Started on the pole for the Mid-Ohio Race for the Bean. It's Alexander Hammonds with Austin Tucker and Chris Bright, Josh Freed. The 4 heat race winners, 1st through 4th. Eric Ronenberg will be in 5th with Kyle Blevins in 6th, Aaron Thacker 7th, Jason Lee in 8th, Adam Jackson 9th, Tyler Carlton is in 10th, Castro and Jordan bring it up in 11th and 12th with Alexander Bueller in 13th, Kyle Smith 14th, McClendon is 15th with Sean Bradley in 16th, Ron Wolf and Justin Hall in 18th and 19th, Shane Cameron, Matthew Dupuis, Tyler Augustino, and Darren Bai round out the top half of the field. From there, you got Jordan Babcock, Alex Harrison, Tom Madole, Mac Verstappen, John Combs, Tyler Vietnick, Corey Barrett, Ethan Condi, Steph Purcell, Barron Morton, Jonathan Lefebvre, Greg Beckman, Chris Flams, Giovanni Romano, Brooks Clayton, Blake Gambrill, Brian LeBlanc, Chris Hannigan, Alex Cofford, Adam Joseph Milhot, and Tanner Klein brings up the rear.
This race is called Race for the Bean.
Yes, it is.
I love these guys. I love these guys.
Refreshing our point situation. Remember, Cofford must finish at the top 30. If he finishes 30th or higher, drop weeks dictate he gets the championship no matter what. If he finishes outside of the top 30, then with the drop weeks, Hammonds has to win this race and score 3 bonus points. He's already got 1 of those bonus points. He just has to lead the most laps and win the race tonight. And he's in the best place to do it, started on pole. Upcoming shows, got the Speed Tires Plus Cup Series in Texas tomorrow night, and then a doubleheader on Saturday with the VSCA Sports Car Championship, bringing it out to us for WeatherTech Raceway, along with the TNGG IL Truck Series later that same evening at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, racing for the Lobster State 150. All of that and a lot of action still yet to come. We're happy that you joined us here on this absolutely incredible Wednesday night. For the final time in beer league competition, it's go, go, go! Hammonds on a good launch, trying to get ahead down to the turn number 1. This is where it all counts. As the 26, can he get clear of the field? He sure does. And looking like that 26 car is in prime position to lead the opening lap of this race.
Ooh, just free, just took out Chris Bright, and they're all wrecking behind. Somebody sat backwards. I think that's Kyle Blevin, Ron Wolf, John Combs upside down on his lid, Mac Verstappen flips him back over, and he gets hit again by Lefebvre coming through. John Combs is okay. Purcell's off the racetrack. Chris Hannigan gets through, and Alexander Hammonds is still leading through the curve. I don't even know what this is called anymore, man.
It is absolute calamity on the racetrack, as to be anticipated, as the rest of the pack fires it up and around through the top half of the racetrack. Tucker in hot pursuit of Hammonds. Hammonds trying to hang on with everything that 26 car's got underneath him. It's a long way to go, though. 54 minutes on the docket for him to get that car sorted. And we'll take a look on what happened throughout the opening series of corners, as it is that 26 car who leads lap number 1. Stand by, started this race from pit road. You take a look back and embrace the carnage.
Count them. You said there were going to be 15 in turn 1 and 2. I see 3 spun around right now that already had contact. Oh, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, 7, 8, 9 making contact, 10, Mac Verstappen. Oh, 11, 12 with Barrett Morton. Oh, I think we were just shy at about 13.
Well, do you count the other incidents that we have with cars spinning off, though, on that opening lap as well? That's the big question. Well, you know what? We will not. I said a pile-up in turns 1 and 2. Those were not in turns 1 and 2, so I'll give it to you that one. We were short. Jackson getting around Dupuis.
Thank God I smashed the under there. Alexander Hammond still leading the way. Jackson in that 97. They're going to get past Dupuis before the chicane. Coming back up through that upward left-hander. Very, very strange corner that is, honestly. Coming over that hill and then coming right back down into that very slow right-hander here at the bottom. Just very, very slow section of the racetrack all the way around from the chicane to about the double right on the other side of the racetrack. But Alexander Buehler here on the inside of Greg Beckman, able to make the move down there as well.
A lot of drivers still duking it out for some of the bigger positions on the racetrack, but already a good chunk of this field settling in to the middle section of this race about how this one could pan out in the long term. Not seeing too much of the way of side-by-side battles. It's a hard track to overtake on right, and as you mentioned, one of the best passing opportunities right down in what would usually be about turn 4 has been taken away with having over half the straightaway eliminated.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go down to that chicane, and I was mentioning in the pre-race, or during the heat races, the braking zone ain't as long, so it's harder to make a move. I was talking more about we're probably going to see less accidents in the corner, but it is less inviting. But, oh, man, Chris Hannigan is getting invited into the shadow realm out here, way out to the outside. Greg Beckman as well. Chris Flams to the inside wall. I don't know how the heck he got all the way down there.
Well, we'll find out how he got all the way down there. And he got run over by Chris Hannigan, who way overshot turn 2, and nowhere to go for the 42 either. Spun it out trying to avoid.
Not too big of an incident down to turn number 1, or down to turn 2, but I guess that's just going to be the calamity corner tonight. It just seems like turn 2 is probably the best diving opportunity, with it being a very, very quick opposite change of direction from turn number 1. Maybe it's just kind of inviting these guys in, but still, it hasn't really panned out too well for too many people, as Chris Bright's trying to get past the 64 of Justin Hall through the final corner. Kind of tight through that section. But down on the front straightaway, Chris Bright was able to get it coming down into turn number 1.
Already almost 5 minutes deep. The lap time is just over a minute, about a minute 13, minute 15 around this shorter layout of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It's a very, very technical racetrack. You see Chris Hannigan try to regain lost ground. He'll take to the inside of Jordan Babcock and pick off the number 39. So the 4 is through. Good show for him. As we've got Ethan Condi way out wide, and he has tagged the wall.
Gonna get a look at what happened to Condi all by himself. Just lost it coming out of turn number 2 there.
All by himself. Noses it pretty heavily into the barrier. We'll jump back up and take a look at Shane Cameron and Tyler Vietnam more.
Big battle between these guys. Coming down to that double right-hander. 74 able to hold on currently over that, but that's it's kind of like the chicane a little bit beforehand with that left-hander over the hill. That was a right-hander over the hill. Both of those are very, very strange. The car gets very light. This is some type of battle for 20th we got going on the bottom right. Now we got it figured out with Shane Cameron up in the 20th spot, but yellow window is open. And somebody stopped on the entrance of pit road though. But hopefully we'll have the correct amount of yellows set for us today.
It helped there's not 2 bots running. Hopefully Tucker and Hannigan have gotten that figured out this time. That was interesting though last week, wasn't it?
That was awesome. That was awesome. They threw everything for a loop, man.
That's why I always say, right, and I tell this to every new commentator, never say you've seen it all. I guarantee you, you haven't.
There's so much, and I've been watching racing for years, but then you get on internet racing and start watching it, and it's like, whoa, you have so many different things that could go wrong. You don't really get people popping tires anymore. You get netcode and I don't know, a bunch of random crap in the beer league, I'll tell you that.
I've been watching internet racing for over half a decade, and I still am seeing new things almost every single week. The 43 of Vietnam going off and into the grass, so we jumped outside of the top 20, and this is self-inflicted over the hill.
Yeah, and just losing it again. Like I was talking about, those hills coming over those, trying to get the throttle down is going to be sketchy. Speaking of sketchy, it's second place. Austin Tucker off the racetrack coming out of the last corner. That's a weird corner to lose it without any help.
Well, not too weird. That car can bottom out coming down the hill, and listen to that stat what happened to Tucker there. He'll lose out to third, and that is exactly what Ham's going to see as Free gets all sorts of out of shape. Gives second back to Tucker. He'll give up spots to Roddenberry and Lee as well. And now Hammonds is a 4-second gap. That is exactly what he needs. Critically, right now for him, Alex Crawford running all the way to 38th. As it stands right now, Hammonds will be your champion.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching Crawford here. He's got a good group of guys in front of him that he could absolutely pass at some point. And he's still got 48 laps to go. But I would be worried. Did I say laps? Yeah. 48 minutes to go.
It's not too far off. Maybe about 40 laps, give or take.
Yeah, somewhere around there, maybe. But either way, Crawford, he's got plenty of time. It's just, I know that he is absolutely destroyed right now, mentally. And so I'm a little worried because typically most weeks we see him get into the top 20 by minute 40, and he's not even close to eclipsing that number at this point. So I'm actually a little worried for Crawford. But like I said, I kind of knew coming in that we were going to have to with the news that we got before the race, but for stooping off the racetrack.
Verstappen going off wide, and that is again by himself. And whoa, Corey Barrett just barely avoided disaster in the number 7. Verstappen will drop back to 27th place. Verstappen's had a pretty good season, right? I mean, he's had some of his best finishes in these late model stocks. I'm excited to see if he's going to be able to respond with the GR86s going into season 7.
Well, I think that, whenever we do change cars, we typically get at least a couple different guys that weren't quick in the old one that are all of a sudden top 10-ish speed. So I do think that we're going to get a good shuffling of the running order. I think that a lot of the pro guys are probably going to stay relatively similar. Maybe they'll shuffle a little bit with amongst themselves, but with the car change, I do think we're going to get a couple differing drivers up towards the front. Like this year, for instance, I don't think Josh Freed in the Mustang was anything too amazing, but in the late model stock, he's been pretty consistent, top 5 to top 10 speed the entire season. And there's a couple other guys that are on that list as well. So I think moving over to the Toyota, it's gonna help the people that, like you mentioned, it's about the same speed as the Mazdas. So it's gonna help those people that are used to running maybe the slower speed cars.
I think the other thing that's going to be interesting as well to see if we're going to get any wet weather races next season as well, right? If the GR86 is rain enabled, I think that's one of the main reasons why they are making that switch over to the 86. A wet weather race, especially a changing condition race, right? It's going to be wild. It's one thing to have just a race that's already started when it's raining. It's another to have it go dry to wet or vice versa midway through an event.
Beer and water don't mix. Greg Beckman just lost to the inside of Crawford. I think that's probably the worst advice you can give somebody going to a bar. By the way, please never tell anybody that beer and water don't mix. That would be bad. But anyway, Beckman was on the inside of our championship contender. Alex Crawford lost it on the inside going into turn 2. A little bit of a nervy moment for the 19, but Beckman kept it out of Crawford. And man, right in front of Crawford, Ethan Conde getting a little loose too over the hill.
Beckman into 38th. This field's actually breaking apart a lot quicker than I thought it might, right? I mean, I thought we'd be seeing a lot of really tight action. It's been relatively single file for much of tonight's running, even though we're only 10 minutes in. It's not like a usual beer league race, isn't it? I think this is one of the more technical tracks this league has ever gone to, and that's not making it any easier, especially since it's hard enough to pass as it is with these vehicles.
Yeah, I just think everybody's very, very equal right now. We're seeing it's just very difficult for a lot of these guys to really make the move. The 549 has been all over the back bumper here of Graham Jordan in the 14 for the last couple laps. Kyle Smith trying to get past for this. Let's see. Graham Jordan's running in the 8th place position currently, so they're running for that 8th, 9th spot. Smith has been all over the back bumper of the 14, just hasn't been able to do anything.
Jordan, Smith, and Bright continuing to duke it out as Jordan taking that 14 car up into 8th, and as he's already up 4 spots on the evening. Kyle Smith up 9th and Chris Bright up 10th. The driver that's gained the most, Giovanni Romano, did just go off the racetrack, but still plus 20 out of the day. He's into 16th.
Yeah, Giovanni Romano's championship reign is coming to an end tonight. We'll be crowning a new champion after he won the championship last year in the Ford Mustangs. And here Kyle Smith gives the bumper to Graham Jordan through turn 2. Jordan loose on exit. Move Kyle Smith up to 8th. Maybe coming out of the corner. Still side by side. Maybe coming out. But no, Kyle Smith finally gets it done down the straightaway. He's going to have the preferred groove down to the chicane.
And out wide is Ron Wolf going in deep into the gravel trap down at turn 3. Gets himself back onto the racetrack while Kyle Smith trying to keep Graham Jordan and Chris Bright at bay in the fight for 8th on back. This 14 car is showing some good, decent speed underneath it with 43 minutes still on the clock. Fuel numbers going to be an ever big question over the course of this evening. Alex Harrison has gone wide into the gravel trap. Jordan Babcock is turned around entirely. And now Ethan Conde goes spearing off.
And that was probably right in front of Crawford. Ethan Conde was. Wow. 751 just didn't even try to turn down into the double right there. Way off into the gravel trap. Thank you, New Gravel Physics, for saving him there. And then down here, Vietnam gets into the back bumper of the third. I mean, yeah, just drives through the 39. And then Ethan Conde got past that and spun it over the hill right in front of championship contender Crawford. That's a free pass for Crawford, even though it was maybe a little bit closer than he had wanted.
Graham Jordan side by side with Chris Bright. The battle for 9th is on as Bright trying to make that one up and gets forced out wide. Castro going to get in there to boot. So we could, in fact, be seeing Chris Bright being pushed out of the top 10. That got nervy there down towards down to the turn 3.
Yeah, Serial Team 6 with some friendly fire there coming through the chicane. Graham Jordan almost pushed Chris Bright off of the racetrack. Oh, man, the 163 is that Tanner Klein to the inside fence. All 3 Serial Team 6 members get through unharmed. Jeremy Castro maybe giving up a spot to Sean Bradley as well, trying to fight back on the inside through the fast kink. They're going to make contact. Maybe ship Sean Bradley out. No, he keeps it on the racetrack, but Jeremy Castro keeps the position.
And just up front, Graham Jordan still in that battle with Chris Bryant as it's starting to kick off here right at the cusp of the top 10. Bryant takes it into the inside for 9th. He's going to hang on for the time being while Sean Bradley try to keep drivers at bay. He's got Justin Hall and Adam Jackson applying big pressure. Look at the tank slapper for the 64 coming out of 2. Just gets that machine underneath him as Hall makes that huge lunge.
Crawford's in the gravel, stopping on the front straightaway.
Oh no! What has happened to Crawford?
I saw him lift down the backstretch, let 2 people go, and I was just curious, like, what in the world's going on? Now he's stopped on the front straightaway.
And he goes out wide and just parks into the gravel trap. And this could be a championship killer. He was in the points lead, had to finish only in the top 30, didn't have to come anywhere close to winning. And now off and stopped, possibly stranded. You willing to bet that
he's throwing up, I bet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, unfortunately.
I mean, in the championship race, I'd be puking in my carpet, to be honest. I would just be throwing up right next to me. Just move my microphone out of my mouth way and just all over the carpet and keep racing. You're good.
Why did I expect it to replicate the sound? Well, Dupuy's in a pit road. It's early for a pit stop for Dupuy. What do you think of this one?
Well, it really just depends. I don't know exactly what the fuel window is, so I mean, maybe we're just on a hard 2 stop, so he's wanting to get the first one out of the way early. If that's the case, then I like the strategy, but if we are at a 1 stop, I think that takes him out of a 1 stop. There's no way he makes it 40 minutes, right?
Yeah. Sean Bradley trying to keep, trying to get around Graham Jordan and Justin Hall to that of Jackson. Also in the fray, and with Alex Crawford still being stalled in front straightaway, I do think we should probably reiterate that we do not condone alcohol abuse on Replay TV. Please don't drink so much that you end up doing whatever Crawford's doing right now. Yeah, that's not the way to go. I know it's a championship race, but the health ain't worth it, right?
Yeah, I've been there, done that. I've had my fair share of fun nights that turn not so fun.
I have not.
It can get a little much, and I think from what we heard in the pre-race about Crawford, I'm honestly not surprised.
We'll let you know when or if he ever moves out of that gravel trap. For now, he has still been stopped there for the last 5 minutes or so, and that effectively takes him out of it entirely for the championship. All Hammonds has to do now is win. That's the key thing, right? I mean, even though Crawford is stopped, that still isn't secure. Even if Alexander Hammonds gets all of the bonus points possible up for Robert tonight and get, okay, can I go back and reiterate this? If Alexander Hammonds gets 2nd place tonight and all of the bonus points, that still puts him just 2 short on overtaking Crawford. He has to win. Right now, Hammonds has got to drive a very careful race and do nothing to upset this run.
Yeah, he's absolutely got to. He's got to run well. He's got to keep running how he is right now, but he's also got to get lucky, right? The random yellows can throw a big wrench into this thing. If Hammonds comes out of pit road after one of these yellow flag cycles in 10th, 12th, I don't know if he can get back up to 1st, because there are plenty of fast guys in this league that if you put them at the front of the pack, they're going to build a big enough gap to somebody starting in the 12th place spot. As we see Tanner Klein hitting the inside pits right here, spinning out.
And then but Nolan just after pulling
Nolan,
off.
should I do some investigative journalism just to make sure about Alex Crawford to see exactly what's going on?
If you want, you can go ahead, but I mean, we got a race still on the racetrack despite all of that. I mean, Crawford's not showing any signs of moving, and at this point, not even the safety cars will get that car back onto the lead lap, so he's got to hope now that something goes wrong for Hammonds, and the Hammonds doesn't win this race.
Yeah, he absolutely does, but the curiosity killed the cat, and the cat's meowing.
All right, well, he's going to go and take a look at what happened there to Alex Crawford to see if he can get some insights for you. But for now, the battle is on for the number 12 spot with Hall, Jordan, and Jackson. Running the line of stern, you got Shane Cameron, Ron Wolf in the fray as well, and Graham Jordan under fire. Here goes Jackson to the inside, and Adam Jackson looking to pick off 14th. Ron Wolf goes into pit road, and Jackson around the outside of the final turn, picks off Cameron. Jordan will get around him as well. So more drivers starting to fall back as the action kicks off in earnest. Fights on for 17th, 18th, and 19th. Alex Harrison to the inside, robs Barrett out wide, and Bueller trying to get into this as well. You see Shane Cameron off the racetrack, spun and stopped. So Shane Cameron has swung out wide, and we'll continue to keep an eye on how everything's going to pan on out. Shane Cameron having that lazy spin, got tipped around by the 14 as well. Battle still on for 18th with Corey Barrett trying to keep Bueller at bay. John Combs wants to make his way back up into the mix. It's all kicking off at the moment for 15th on back. What have you found, Austin?
Well, it turns out nobody knows. Everybody in the driver's chat has a different theory. So, some are on the just hanging onto the ground theory, but, just from intoxication, and some are saying he has a newborn, so he could be taking care of the newborn.
Oh, that is right. I forgot
that's
about
a very wide spectrum, though.
Oh my good Lord! John Combs with an almighty sin puts Corey Barrett off, and that forces Barrett into pit road.
Yeah, definitely less than ideal from Barrett there. Terrible to get shoved down into pit road. Hopefully he's within his pit window. We've seen a couple of people come down pit road. I think that's Brian LeBlanc behind him as well. So perhaps it ends up being a blessing in disguise for Barrett.
I mean, that was a really wide swing. He didn't come down with Brian LeBlanc, so I do believe that we are going to be seeing regular pit stops here before too long. So Tyler Augustino and Alex Harrison both going off. And I'm willing to bet they had to come together in turn 2. Sure enough, they did, and you saw one other driver go spearing off at turn 1 as well.
Oh, the 44 rejoining. That was a little tight there, coming back on the racetrack. But here we go. Oh, Alexander Bueller maybe getting a little bit of payback.
Yeah,
on John Combs,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm looking at our race leader. He just about looped it coming out of turn number 1. He hit too much curb, and I thought he was throwing the championship away.
You got to be careful for that, right? I mean, Hammonds is, he needs to win. If he's got a 5.5 second gap. I would not be doing anything to jeopardize that right now. The problem is he's got lap traffic in front of him, and he can't sit behind them forever.
Man, you got to go back and look at turn 1 for Hammonds. I mean, he very well could have jumped this thing coming around turn 1. This is Hannigan going down into turn number 2, and now Hammonds coming out of the final corner down to turn 1. He just clips his curb roll, getting down into it. Big risk. Super sideways there on the apex. A little bit of smoke. Luckily, with the way the corner was going, and the car just caught at the perfect time. But that's a nervy moment you don't need if you're Alexander Hammond.
There's another one.
but he can't be making the mistakes being up 5 seconds. You can't help other people, but you can't be the one getting loose on that curb, because if you hit the curb right, it's probably only helping you half a tenth on that lap as we see him come down pit road.
And this is big. This is going to have him give up the race lead. He is no longer leading laps. Remember, he has to get bonus points for the most laps led as well as leading a lap. He's already got 1 bonus point. He just needs 1 more, and then he has to win the race, and then he'll be smooth sailing. The issue right now is I think he has already given up the 0x bonus, so he has got to lead the most laps tonight. You can't do that when you're running way back in 8th.
And Hammonds did not take tires. I saw a couple other guys that came down pit road did take tires. Alexander Hammonds staying out on the same rubber that he came in on.
Oh boy, this race is kicking off. I thought the race at Texas was exciting. With the way this championship battle is swinging up, this could very well usurp the High Tide Race League race for Green Flag TV's Race of the Week so far.
Oh, was the High Tide race good?
Oh, it was fantastic. I'll tell you all about it after this race, but it was one of the most phenomenal fuel mileage races we have ever seen. Oh. I hate the fact, I love rubbing it in that you can't do that series. You know that, right?
Screw you. So Dalton Kilroe won?
No, actually.
Really?
Did not. Jason Greenwell took his first win.
Wow! Congrats to Jason Greenwell. Heck yeah, Jason. That's awesome.
More drivers coming in. Freed and Bright running in from 5th and 6th. Both going to be down and into the lane for service. This time by Sean Bradley, Justin Hall, Adam Jackson also in. Top 4 still have yet to stop.
Alexander Hammonds is gone. He's been gone for a long time. Alexander Hammonds, I think, his net coded out of the session.
You are kidding me.
He just dropped with packet loss. Alexander Hammonds packet loss.
Oh my God.
Championship over. Alex Crawford wins. What in the
my
world?
God. You are kidding me.
Oh my gosh.
That has got to
I've
be
never-
one of the most heartbreaking ways to lose a title. He had it won. We know he had it won. Well, the battle continues. Cameron, Combs, and Moore all still packed up line astern. I have nothing to say to that.
Wow.
That is.
I'm speechless. I don't.
I feel bad for him. He
I do too.
He does not deserve to have a championship end like that after winning so many races this season. Swept a third of the championship, 4 races.
Well, and he very well could have won. What was it, Canadian Tire? But whenever. Oh, John Combs. I think John Combs just absolutely jumped somebody coming down the pit road. Yeah.
Yep, he did. He dumped Shane Cameron, who
Oh,
is going
Kyle Busch
backwards in
backing
pit road. There he goes. Okay, he's gonna get it righted, but.
Yeah, Hammonds could have won Canadian Tire as well, but iRacing had the wrong. He had auto fuel on to make it to the end, but somehow it was the wrong amount. And so that cost him that race. And now tonight, he probably could have gone 50% on race wins this year, but it just didn't work out.
Combs just got
John
disqualified. He just got
What is-
disqualified for going backwards in pit road.
What is happening
no.
in the Mid-Ohio race for the Bean?
I've actually seen that happen once before. Not here. I saw it happen in an official IMSA race.
It's happened to me before.
Over a
so
year
I've-
ago.
it happened to me years ago, so I get
missed
it.
it.
That's just funny.
He missed his pit box and tried to back up into his stall and backed up way too far.
Alexander Hammonds has reconnected.
It's too late. He's lost too many laps.
He's lost 2 already. Yeah,
3.
2 already, and it's oh my goodness, he's just gone a 3rd down. That's definitely way too much. I mean, they're not going to give him 3 laps back under a caution. So
Well, we're taking a look here on John Combs and what happened to him. So he's trying to find his pit stall. It's right about here. He completely misses it, reverses all the way back. That's too far back. Iverson to this point.
Man.
Holy, he had no idea where his pit stall was. And yep, right there. That's disqualification. Driving backwards, even though he wasn't even on the racetrack when it happened.
Shane Cameron's the one he jumped. Cameron started.
That's
in
instant karma.
Yeah, so I'm looking. Cameron started in 19th. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where Combs' pit stall was in relation to Cameron's. Combs, as he's dropping through the field, if I can find him. Oh my goodness, John Combs started in the 27th. So yeah, he was about 8 boxes behind the 74.
And Carlton spinning around right in front of Alexander Bueller by himself. You can go back about 5 or 6 stalls, but not 8. Alex Crawford, by the way, still parked in the gravel trap off the final corner. He's been there ever since about the 45 minutes to go mark. So, not
Do you think
anticipating.
that I think he felt a disturbance in the force. I think that he knew Alexander Hammonds was going to lag out, and so he parked his car at the start-finish line in the gravel to prep himself for doing championship donuts at the end of this thing.
That's a theory. I don't think it's the right theory, but it's a theory.
Hey, look,
Hammond's
it can't be tested, so it could be right.
Hammond's back on the racetrack. He is 2 laps down. That is confirmed. So it might be over. Here's the thing. If we do get 2 cautions, he can get both laps back and get back onto the lead lap. The problem is, even if he wins, he still has to lead the most laps of the race because his 0x is gone. And he can't do that. That's impossible to do since he's 2 laps down and Tucker's racking him up. He might.
Not only that, but
I think it's over no matter what.
well, even if he got the 2 laps back, even after that second caution, he'd have to restart 30th. He's not going to be passing 30 cars in 12 minutes at max. So
Giovanni
it's
Romano would like to
over.
have a word with you.
Well, Romano can do it in the Ford Mustang, but he hasn't even been doing it in the late model stock. Nobody has passed that good in the late model stock this year.
Well,
now, don't get me wrong, Hammonds has been the quickest this season.
We did see Crawford and Romano both do it at one point, but that is because like half the field got piled up in the opening corner.
That does help. That does help. And you know, we typically only see that whenever they're lined up 2 by 2. On the restarts, single file, you typically don't see as big rules.
See Alexander Bueller making the move for 15th down the inside of Tom Badol. Blake Gambrill going for a spin off at turn 3. And just carries too much speed, loses the back again, and causes, I believe that was Ron Wolf, to go evasive. It's a pretty good fight he got going on here for spots a bit further down the order as, Hannigan barrel rolling on the front stretch. Verstappen also involved. What's happened here?
Oh, that's the race leader, Aston Tucker. Oh, I would just be so worried about a bad rejoin there. Oh, Max Verstappen, does he get in the back? Oh, yeah, he
sure
does.
Does.
Gets in the back
and what in the world then happens as they're trying to get rolling in? He just launched over the hood. Are you kidding me? You are kidding me. Are you okay?
This league kills me, man. I don't know how I'm going to survive next Wednesday night without this racing.
Just up and over, and he was right at the bottom of the hood of Max Verstappen. Verstappen backed into the wall, and that sudden stop kicked the 4 up and over.
You're getting so good with the slow-mo, man. That timing was perfect. As soon as the contact came, boom, button press. Boom. Looked like a Transformers movie.
What?
Yes, this will be a great view. I can't wait. Brake check.
Alley-oop.
It's just the way that it reacted whenever he hit the windshield, man. I love it. I love this daggum league. What? This is going to be awesome, too.
This has got to be one of the weirdest championship finale races I have ever called.
Why was Verstappen driving backwards? He just stopped and flick spin that
trying
thing around.
he was trying to get out of the way. And then Lefebvre going off the track, and then Connie going off wide just to try to redress, but...
Man, I gotta catch my breath. Oh, Verstappen, that's not the racetrack.
What is he doing out there?
Oh,
in this race?
Oh, no, Crawford's still out there. I thought he towed.
Nope, he's very much still there.
He's still in the gravel trap, so still unsure what happened to Crawford. We absolutely know what happened to Hammonds.
Ron Wolf having a problem, and he is towed to pit road after this. Gotten pretty deep with 163, and in fact, he did just go to pit road. He did not tow. And Hannigan again, possibly collided with a Flying Donuts teammate. Free and fresh out of the pits, and he just loops that on his own. Austin, how do you summarize this race? Because I don't think it's possible, right? Like, so much
are we including the heat races too? Because like the heat races were like kind of tame until the 4th one, where it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
I wouldn't even call that a heat race at that point.
Yeah,
it was like an extra 3-minute goof-off session for half the field.
Yeah, that was a little different. But yeah, the actual main event, I mean, when have we ever seen the main championship contender? Alex Crawford's been quick all year. He was running like 35th legitimately, and then pulls off the racetrack. When do you ever see one of the championship contenders do that? And then the other championship contender, 5 laps later, obviously, disconnecting out of the race due to internet issues. And on top of that, it's been a chaos-filled, crash-filled, just a weird accident-filled race. I mean, the turn 1 accident, or turn 2 accident on lap number 1 was absolutely crazy. And then Chris Hannigan just a couple laps ago. And I feel like there's been a whole lot in between that I can't even remember, because so much has happened that, like, I've had to push some of the memories out of my head to be able to retain some of the other stuff that has recently happened. I mean, it's just been ridiculous.
And you still got battles despite all of this on the racetrack. You're looking at the one for 17th between Kyle Blevins and Tom Badol going side by side, and Blevins going to take that one in force. Tom Badol slides back in 17th position. Giovanni Romano into pit road for his 2nd pit stop of the evening. And This will put him good to go to the end. We still have not had a caution this race, and we've got just 21 minutes, just 11 and a half minutes where that yellow flag can come out.
Yeah, they might be wanting to limit the yellow flags this week, given the fact that we had 3 last week.
Well, I mean, we had one at, remember Willow Springs, the championship finale last season. Oh, and around goes the 64 of Hall, punted by Jeremy Castro. They'll both go off the track at turn 2. But remember last season, Willow Springs in the finale, we had a yellow flag come out with just 4 seconds left of possibility for it to come out in that race. It's definitely not a possibility that something similar happens tonight.
And we've seen, that was the 751 going into the outside wall there. But yeah, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought with that. What were we talking about?
Willow Springs last season, how the yellow flag came out with 4
yes,
seconds
thank you.
to go.
We've seen a lot of craziness with the yellow flags. Obviously, last week with 3 of them. I feel like there was one earlier this season where as soon as we ended the first caution, I mean, we took the green flag and the second one came out.
We hadn't even taken it. We hadn't even gotten to the line yet.
Yes, that's what it was. Dude, I mean, like, so you never know. We could literally get down to 10 minutes and 1 second, and I could start announcing that the caution window has closed, and then the caution flag come out.
You know what? That'd be about par for the course with how this race has gone. I'm still in almost a bad mood, right, on behalf of Alexander Hammonds, right? I mean, he was running the perfect race. 5 seconds was the gap. He was taking off laps, leading them all. He just had to get that run and win that race, leading the most laps. He was in the perfect position to do it. And to have a championship ripped away from you for an end of that problem, something that you have no control over, you know that's going to sting going into next season.
Yeah, it absolutely is, especially because, I mean, Hammonds has come into the beer league this year as a newcomer and really put his foot down and showed that he was unbelievably quick. But again, given the fact that they change cars every year, and the car change is not like an oval series car change where you go from the dirty air machine of the truck to the even bigger dirty air machine of the next gen car. No, you're going from a late model stock that's not even supposed to be on road courses to a Toyota road course car that is about as fast as a Mazda MX-5. So the difference is massive, massive in this league whenever we change cars. So how fast you are can change dramatically year to year, I believe. So Hammonds, whenever you got that right driver car combination, you have to strike while the iron's hot. And unfortunately for Hammonds, he did, but fate was just not on his side.
Lefebvre having a little self-spin up over the hill. Brian LeBlanc and McClendon both in the pit road. Most of the field spread out around the whole racetrack.
Austin Tucker just got into the back bumper of a lap car, Lefebvre, and brought Eric Ronenberg right up to his back bumper through the final corner. Ronenberg ended up losing a little bit of time coming around it, but that's a pretty tight battle here for the lead between Tucker and Ronenberg.
Oh, I think Lefebvre just went off again. Darren Bai going off as you heard the tires squealing. He got into Lefebvre, and they both spun off the track at turn 1.
Couldn't quite tell if Lefebvre was just a little late turning in or if Bai had turned in as if Lefebvre wasn't there. Maybe we can check on this one. Maybe a little bit both. I don't know. It's just still a tough angle right there. I really can't tell who made the mistake.
There it is! Caution number 1. 17 minutes to go, and only 7 minutes away from when we would be seeing a caution with no possibility of coming out.
Wow. And a lot of guys have made their final pit stop, but a lot of guys haven't. So this could really shuffle up the running order, as everybody who's made that final pit stop is not going to come in under this caution, and they're going to assume the front of the field. So this could be a big track position changer.
Well, tell you what, the pace car pulled it out onto the racetrack. We'll take ourselves a step back, and we'll be with you for the final minutes of the Beer League Championship in just a little while. You're watching the Mid-Ohio Race for the Bean on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy. but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
10 minutes to go. The caution window will close. We will have only one safety car period this race. Austin Tucker, the leader, with less than 10 laps left in the beer league competition this evening.
And in this season, we are almost done with the beer league season. We're gonna have that off week next week. Who's gonna send us into that off week with a victory? Is it gonna be Austin Tucker, Eric Cronenberg, Aaron Thacker back in third place? Who's it gonna be coming to the green flag?
Green flag back up into the air as the field hightails it down and then towards turn number 1. Alex Coffert still sitting off of the gravel trap. He never moved from his position ever since he went off a little while ago. And oh, we got trouble. Lee going around, and he's going to get punted up by Josh Freed. Stopped in the middle of the racetrack. The 64 is caught up in there. And looking like everyone else is going to somehow avoid him. But Lee going to drop from the top 5 all the way down to just about outside of the top 30.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking for Jason Lee, running in 4th place. Now, all the way, like you mentioned, almost outside. That sucks, man. I hate having a good run and going the entire time. You're under 10 minutes left in this race, and bam, shucked all the way to the back after you've worked so hard. But we're looking at Brian LeBlanc trying to take the spot from Justin Hall on that little slow right-hander after the elevation change, and now a little bit more elevation change down into the double right. LeBlanc has the preferred groove on the inside. Justin Hall, though, throwing it around the outside, trying to keep the momentum up over the hump. Who's it gonna be coming down to that fast left-hand kink? Probably Hall in the 64s. They're still side by side, but Brian LeBlanc does have a nose on him, but he gives him the spot.
8.5 minutes to go, and Hall gonna get clear around Brian LeBlanc, and now Dupuis trying to throw it in there as well. Dupuis lunging for that spot around the outside. Kyle Blevins is into pit road, possibly with a penalty. Off of the restart, Castro gets pushed out by Corey Barrett. As the rest of the field siphons through the opening couple of corners, and now Josh Freed under fire by Bueller.
Yeah, Josh Freed is just absolutely losing that back end. The 58 is trying everything he can to get to the right rear before they get down to the braking zone. He's able to do it later on the brakes. The 58 is Alexander Bueller, but just a little bit too wide on exit. That opens the door for the 74, but the 58 had the inside line for the second corner of the chicane. Over the hump, down the hill. Really no change in position between those three. I gotta imagine Alexander Bueller's gonna give it another shot on Josh Freed, though, as soon as he builds up the momentum.
This is going to go for the shot at least as we rise back up and over the hill. They just caught so many drivers out all season long. Sean Bradley and Adam Jackson looking like they want to duke it out. This is for that final spot inside the top 5 with only about 5 laps to go.
Jackson all over the back bumper here of Bradley. Josh Freed, no! Josh Freed and Alexander Bueller come together through the final corner. Josh Freed off the racetrack, losing a couple more positions as Bueller just would not give him the lane coming out of the corner. Bueller moves up a spot. Josh Freed back about 3.
And that puts Chris Bright and Shane Cameron to abreast as Cameron tried to look for the inside in the turn 2 to see if he can hang on to 9th. Bright trying to carry the momentum up and around the outside line, and he's still in there. So the battle for 8th, side by side down the racetrack and into turn 3. Looking like the 74 might just get it here. They rub a little bit at the apex. And the 74 up over the hill. Bright still fighting this one out. It's been side by side for half a lap.
What in the world? How are they still side by side? I didn't think it was possible to stay side by
Good
side
old
this
late
long at
models.
Mid-Ohio. Unbelievable. Chris Bright finally wins out. That was a great battle. Giovanni Romano, last season's champion, moving up to the 3rd place spot. Final step on the podium as he gets past Brad Thacker. I believe this is Tanner Klein in the Ninja Turtles machine going off. I feel like we've seen that exact accident from him. I know that's not the same replay that we saw earlier, but it looked very similar.
6 minutes. Bueller takes over the spot from Bradley and putting Sean Bradley down to 7th. Now see if he can run down Adam Jackson up the road. Chris Bright applying that pressure to the 00 Top Gun machine down to the turn number 1. Contact! And around goes Bright. Slides into the pit exit lane. Gives the spot to Shane Cameron. And look at that. Side by side again. Hannigan, the first penalty of the night. A drive-through for hitting the incident limit.
50 minutes into the event. That's pretty decent. I think that I remember at the beginning of the season we were having some troubles with deciphering exactly what the incident limit needed to be. I think the first one happening 50 minutes into the race is that's pretty good. I think that we've done a good job here in the Beer League with that. But man, Chris Bright and Shane Cameron, they just don't stop fighting.
This time, they will not be side by side for nearly as long. Chris Bright gets through. Cameron going to drop back with Josh Freed in the mix. Tyler Augustino kind of in the fray as well for 11th. 5 minutes and less than 5 laps to go. It's getting down to it, and we'll see if Austin Tucker can hang on right now. Cleared by 1.3 for the lead.
Yeah, he had moved that up to about 1.6, 1.7 right off the restart. I mean, that first lap, I don't know if he just warmed his tires up better under caution than Eric Runenberg or what, but he jumped out that lead like crazy. But after the second lap since the restart, Runenberg and Romano have both been running down our race leader as Alex Crawford has yeah, he's got a friend out there in the gravel.
I mean, hey, best seat in the house, I guess.
Why can't we be friends?
Yeah, he's exchanging some words. Hey.
Oh!
Well, there's a little bit more than words being exchanged here between Castro and LeBlanc.
And they look like they're a little bit more than friends.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to elaborate more on that. But, yeah. Take a look as Chris Flams kind of checked up LeBlanc, and I mean, that's all she wrote.
That's iconic.
I love how
awesome.
Castro's waiting for LeBlanc to move. LeBlanc couldn't move, though, because he was stranded. So he had to wait for Castro to back up to push him off. And then Romano getting around Runenberg. That was for second.
Oh, Romano might give us an opportunity for a great finish here between himself and Austin Tucker. I've loved the beer league since we started calling it. This is the most fun I've had doing one of their broadcasts this season. This has been hilarious the entire race, but it's not come without the misfortune, right? Crawford having to pull over and Alexander Hammonds having his issues, so the championship battle got completely diminished during this race. But I've still just had a blast calling this race. It's been hilarious the entire time, and I think we're still going to get a great battle for the win at the end.
3 minutes. Oh, boy, as Chris Bright and Josh Freed getting argy-bargy with each other out of turn 2 and down the backstretch to 3. Shane Cameron think about making a look on the number 10 as well. 7th on back have not been able to break away from each other. You have to start wondering, right, is Bradley the cork in the bottle, considering how quickly Bueller and Jackson were able to drive away when they got around him.
Yeah, and you got to think, too, Bright and Freed were just fighting there, and they didn't really lose too much time to Bradley. So I feel like you got to be right. Once they're single file, they seem to be just a little bit quicker than the 00 up there, as we see Josh Freed coming up to the back bumper of Sean Bradley. And as that happens, Shane Cameron gets the move done on Chris.
And I think Bright just dropped out of the session as well.
Wow.
What is happening in this? Okay, he's back in now, but what is happening in this race?
Goodness gracious.
I mean, we cannot... We can't keep it out without some kind of problem like this.
We need that guy that made the internet 120 million times better to hurry up and make it mainstream.
That's a thing?
Yes. You need to look it up after this.
I'll look into it. About 2 laps left to go, and Austin Tucker's got a charge Romano right on the bumper. The battle for the lead is on with 2 to go.
This is it. Romano has not looked like his normal self, his normal beer league self this season. Honestly, the entire time, I feel like he hasn't been the consistent threat for the race win that we've seen out of that number 99 last season in the Ford Mustang, the reigning champion in the beer league. But now in the season finale, he's trying to right all those wrongs, trying to prove that he still has it going into next season with a little bit of momentum all over the back bumper of Austin Tucker. And as Giovanni Romano has caught Tucker here, look behind him, Eric Runenberg not too far behind as we take 1 lap to go.
His only other win of the season came in race number 2 at Circuit Zolder. Can he get his 2nd win of the season in the season finale?
He definitely could. I mean, he's right there, man. This is the possibility. Congrats on Beer League Season 6, everybody. I don't know what that was.
Oh, here we go.
Diving to the inside. Can he get it from Austin Tucker? A little bit of curb. Tucker's going to have the preferred groove through the 2nd corner. Probably a little bit of door contact. No, Romano gives him plenty of room. Tucker squeezes him on the exit. Maybe a little bit of door.
Oh, boy. They're still side by side. Tucker's not done. Romano having to fight this one the hard way. Tucker hanging on around the long way, up and over the rise. Still side by side. As Romano trying to get in there big time with Tucker still battling him minute of the season to close it out. While meanwhile,
Was it? The green flag's still out.
Oh, you're kidding me! That wasn't it. That wasn't even the race.
They crossed the line like right at 0.
You are joking.
Austin Tucker's still on the back bumper. They're still racing.
You are joking. It's not over. Can Tucker get it back?
I thought it was done. I thought that clock was
There was
0,
no way that should have gone on. They had less than a minute to go.
Unless they're fooling us, it looks like they're still racing. Giovanni Romano.
They sure are racing.
Tucker is still sliding it through there like he's got a shot.
Once again, what is happening in the beer league?
What is this race? What is this race? I don't understand what's going on.
I don't think any of us do.
Romano still has the lead. Tucker, luckily for Romano, it doesn't look like it's going to be an issue as he's pulled up that gap. But Tucker looks pretty good here coming into the last corner.
Well, this time we'll make it official in what has got to be one of the weirdest beer league races of all time. Romano this time officially takes the win, and Alex Cofford will be pushed across by Max Verstappen, and Alex Cofford will be your champion at the end of the night in what has got to be one of the weirdest ways you could possibly take a championship win.
Oh man, that's a victory celebration and a half if I've ever seen one.
On earth was that?
I am so lost for words tonight. I mean, it all kicked off, and then Kyle Smith gets into Ron Wolf. Here's their 3 wide. Corey Barrett. Both of them go off in the dirt. Ron Wolf in the 7 of Barrett. I mean, there's just wrecks all over the place on the last lap, and then obviously the victory celebrations here. And us getting 1 extra lap whenever I feel like we really shouldn't have.
We shouldn't have. There was only a minute to go, and the lap times are a minute 10. That absolutely should not have been the checker flag there.
There was about a minute 9 whenever they crossed the line with a lap left. A minute 9, minute 10. It was right there.
That is the weirdest thing. So you got more cars going up and over as everybody taking the time to celebrate here in this one. What a weird way to close out a championship. And I mean, that is the weirdest finish I think we have ever seen. With some extra oomph, Verstappen finally pushes Coffin across the line to make that championship official. I don't know. I genuinely have no words. No words at all.
I mean, it was just, I don't know, man. That entire race was just on something else. I've never seen it quite like that. The beer league just does it different every time. And, man, I'm always entertained.
Everyone's going to line up here on the front stretch. They'll take their little beer league photo, as is customary at season's end. So while we wait for all these drivers to get themselves lined on up, we will we'll take a rundown of your official race results after what has got to be one of the weirdest races that I think we have ever seen in this league. It is Romano to take the race away with Tucker in 2nd. Ronenberg was in 3rd with Thacker in 4th. Bueller 5th. Freed in 6th. Augustino, Smith, Carlton, and Dupuis for the top 10.
Todd Middle finishes 11th. Chris Flams 12th. Morton in 13th. Jason Lee in 14th. Steve McClendon 15th. Corey Barrett 16th. Harrison in 17th. Ron Wolf finishes 18th. Adam Jackson 19th. And Chris Bright rounds out the top 20.
21st place will hold Jeremy Castro with Shane Cameron in 22nd. Darren Bai, Justin Hall, Brooks Quaitzing, Graham Jordan, Greg Beckman, Blake Gambrell with the last cars on the lead lap with Sean Bradley, Stephen Purcell to round out the top 30.
Kyle Blevins finishes in the 31st place spot. Ethan Conti in 32nd. Brian Bonk LeBlanc in 32nd. Alexander Hammonds, unfortunately, in 33rd or 34th in that just unfortunate disconnect there that cost him the championship. Jonathan Lefebvre in 35th. Tanner Klein 36th. Mac Verstappen 37th. Hannigan, Adam Joseph Mailhot in 38th. John Combs 39th. Tyler Viet in 40th. Mine is all types of jacked up. I think mine be a little bit different than yours, but unfortunately, Alex Cofford, he wins the championship, but finishes last place in 43rd.
in the weirdest fashion possible, wins that championship. Is everyone going to have their last-minute celebrations? The 9 being carried up by everybody here. Wow. What a night, right? I mean, that is a night for sure. Is there you see more of the chaos in the background. You know what? We'll take ourselves a minute. We'll just let the chaos unfold. We'll let these guys have their fun as there's another car stuck at the fence. There we see Blake Gamble for that one. And, well...
Oh, that was about to be huge.
Yep. Holy cow. But, I don't think any of us have any real words to describe our thoughts and feelings at the end of the race here tonight. But, we'll get the chance to talk to some of the drivers here at the end of this race, and we'll talk to the race podium finishers here at the end of what was one of the wildest races in Beer League history. Giovanni Romano, the first driver to come up and give us a chat here up in the broadcast booth. And, well, Gio, you only took one other race win on the season. It was way back at Circuit Zolder. Not quite the title force we were hoping to see you be entering this season, but what a way to take home the final honors exiting what was one of the wilder seasons I think this league has seen.
I really wanted it today. Like you said, I haven't won since early in the season. The drought was starting to get to me a little bit. And Mid-Ohio is pretty much my favorite track. I absolutely love it. So I figured I got to go hard today and try and get a win before the season ends. And damn, it was awesome. Everything after the last restart was amazing, and the fights, especially with Austin at the end, was excellent.
Well, kind of walk us through this race as a whole, because it was an insane race from start to finish. And I know for you, making one of those classic, almost last to first drives, it's got to be good on such a technical track like this one.
Yeah, the big thing today was really, really tough to pass. Like, I got a chunk of spots on the first lap due to just, attrition. But then after that, it was, like you're picking up maybe one spot every few laps. There's not really, because it's a short layout, you don't really have any heavy braking zones to work with. So I short pit a couple times to try and, undercut people, and it ended up working out pretty good and gave me some good track position for the end. So it worked out.
Well, we look forward now to season number 7. The Toyota GR86s will make their return to the Beer League competition, and I believe with the possibility of rain on the forecast as well for next season. Will we see this 99 car be returning to form?
Hell yeah. He wants to see some water on the track next season. Let's get the rain dance going.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Well, we'll let you go back to celebrating. Congratulations on taking the final honors, on winning the season finale, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for preseason.
Thanks, guys.
Giovanni Romano joining us up here from Victory Lane. We'll move down to Austin Tucker, the driver that led by far the most laps tonight, but just coming up short. Austin, you're standing by with number 2.
Absolutely. Austin Tucker, my goodness, we thought you were going to be the race winner coming to what we thought was the white flag, but it ended up being 2 laps to go. Man, what more did you need to hold off Romano there over those last couple laps?
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to do. This is his favorite track. We know how fast he is, and then on top of that, this is his favorite track. So it's nearly impossible to stop him here in IndyCar. But I did my best, and I hope we made a good show for the broadcast. I don't know how many corners in a row we were side by side there, beating doors, banging. I thought I was going to spin off into the grass, but it was great.
Man, that was an absolutely fantastic race for us to watch from the broadcast booth. I got to be honest. It was. I can't even really put it into words. Was it as hectic from the driver's seat as it felt like it was from the broadcast booth?
The overall race, it wasn't too bad for me. Of course, I was up front, so I didn't see too much of the commotion going on in the back. Honestly, I thought we'd have more lap traffic up front, but everyone seemed to be pretty tight on pace, so we didn't really catch too many people, at least not under green.
Well, what were you thinking coming to the white flag? Did you think, okay, he just passed you, but we were caught off guard. We thought that was the race. So were you thinking the same thing, or did you get to the line and think, oh, man, I got another shot at this?
No, I have Fuel Calc up, which it'll show decimal laps. It showed me 43.05, so I knew it was going 44 laps, not just 43. And if also with 2 to go, if you don't get the white flag, then you're then you're definitely getting the white flag next time, not the checkered.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I held us tight behind him. It's Gio. I know he doesn't make very many mistakes, especially not here. But if I saw a little bit of smoke come out of any of those tires, I was just going to send it right alongside. But there was no gap there for me to send it. Otherwise, I would have. But still, phenomenal race to the end.
Well, going into next season now with the one off week that we have, how are you feeling about the Toyota GR86? Is that a car that you're familiar with, that you're looking forward to racing next season?
Yeah. So I don't know if y'all know, we raced it in season 3 of the beer league. So this will actually be, well, I guess our second repeat car. We raced the Miata seasons 1 and 2 before my time. But since then, this is the first repeat over separate seasons. But no, I love the 86. It's my favorite slower car on the service, I'll say. I do like the P2, but the 86 is up there. And it's been great. We're gonna have rain enabled, so watch out. We're gonna have a chance of rain next season, and I think it's a blast. I think it's a great car. We're gonna bring back the draft. That's something we were definitely missing this season, not being able to get runs down the straight. That thing's got great draft, so it should be better racing, more passing opportunities, just better overall, I think, for the league.
Well, Austin, congrats on the P2 finish, the end the season out. I know you wanted a little bit more, but we're all looking forward to seeing what you can do in the Toyota next year.
All right. Thank you, Austin.
All right, big congrats to Austin Tucker for finishing at P2. Obviously, I meant next season, not next year. We're not going to make you guys wait, about 30 weeks to get another bit of beer league action. Next season, actually only 2 weeks away, but Nolan Ripple is going to be standing by with our third place finisher to give Eric Ernenberg an interview.
Well, Eric, you come home, you take that final podium position here at the end of the night, and, well, for you were pretty much up near the front for most of this race. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I was just trying to kind of defend third position just to give the 1-2 for LM Ellens, or 1-2-3 for LM Ellens, but then it kind of fell apart there at the end. I wasn't pushing it too much. I don't know if you can tell, I'm not very fond of this car.
Well, despite not being too fond of it, you were still able to put together some good performances throughout the course of the season. I mean, kind of walk us through what was a wild 12 weeks as a whole, because I know that for some, this car was a real handful.
Oh, it's one of those cars where it's fun to drive, and we all liked driving it, but racing it was a lot, and we didn't realize that until three or four weeks in, and that's kind of where I stopped liking it. But it does offer good racing, although the no draft and no bump drafting really kind of takes away from it.
Well, I mean, we'll be able to look forward now to the next season, and it's a very different car, and it's a blast of the past, right? The Toyota GR86 making its return for the first time in a few seasons. Do you have higher hopes you'll be another title contender again when we roll into Season 7?
Well, with the rain option coming in, who knows? I'm not great at the rain, but I am pretty good at the car. I hope to be at the front, but we'll see.
Well, sounds like a plan. We'll see you then when we go racing 2 weeks from now for preseason action. But for now, congratulations on taking a very well-earned third-place finish. And, well, we'll see you next season.
Yep, glad to see you. Thank you.
Eric Ronenberg joining us for his third-place interview. One of the only podiums he was able to take on the course of the season. Well, that, Austin, will draw to a close. Alex Cofford has been confirmed to be your champion here at the end of the night. And in what has got to be one of the strangest ways we've ever seen a champion be crowned in any league on Green Flag TV.
I think that's a pretty fair way to say that. I don't know if it's ever going to get any crazier. Well, I say that. You told me earlier today, as a broadcaster, never say that you've seen it all, because you haven't. And, well, I definitely had not seen any of what I saw tonight before today. So you had me there. I mean, that was insane, and we're going to get a lot more that I haven't seen starting in 2 weeks' time whenever we take on the Toyota GR86 in the beer league.
But before we get to all of that, there's still a lot more action yet to come on Green Flag TV. The Speed Tires Plus Cup Series will swing on out to race number 9 at Texas Motor Speedway. That will be coming on up tomorrow night at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. The VSCA Sports Car Championship will be racing to the 2-hour and 40-minute sprint race at the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca down in California on Saturday morning at 11:55 a.m. Eastern Time. and that will be joining the TNGG IL Truck Series later that night at New Hampshire Motor Speedway at 7:55 p.m. Eastern Time. All of that and still a lot more to come on Green Flag TV. It's been a wild season, and we want to thank all of you folks for joining us for every single lap. This has been nothing short of wild for these next 12 weeks, and it's going to be even crazier when we get set to duke it all out again 2 weeks from now in preseason. For myself, Nolan Ramble, alongside Austin Edstrom, thank you for joining us on Green Flag TV. We'll see you next time when we go racing in the Beer League.